Dear students, I'm Dr. Anju Kurava. Today we are going to discuss the same continuation of video which just before this I uploaded. So uh, now let's start, and we are continuing the same thought of Andreas De Capilanus and how the love is hierarchical. So this is a very significant video. Please listen carefully. So, kings of sensual love. Here we have hit upon a striking contradiction in medieval gradualism. In gradualistic thought, each level of graduus has its peculiar values. Among peasants, for example, there was a perfectly acceptable way for a man to win the affection of a woman. But his approach was not only unacceptable for members of higher classes, it was definitely reprehensible. In general, a certain acts may obtain on one level that are not acceptable on other, and which if put into practice for those level become evils. But the problem of love in Christian society of the 12th and 13th century is even more complicated and has far wider implications. In simple terms, there are acts which, in spite of all gradualistic justification, are sinful according to the teachings of the church. The basic of the conflict in Christian thought has been as skintly stated by Lovejoy. The one program demanded a withdrawal from all attachments to creatures and climate in the ecstatic contemplation of the invisible divine essence. The other, if it has been formulated, would have summoned men to participate in some finite measure in the creative passions of God, to collaborate consciously in the process by which the diversity of things, the fulfillment of universe is achieved. The diversity of things. The diversity of things would include courtly love. This conflict could never be resolved by medieval thinkers, not even by Thomas Aquinas, according to Lovejoy. But the second paragraph that was never formulated was in fact put into practice, at least fictionally, through the invention of chivalry and courtly love by the 12th and 13th century aristocracy. Now you can read about Lovejoy and what does this facts about this. So you can actually take a screenshot or just stop a video for a while and you can read it. These are additional informations. That part of clergy which, like Andreas, gave expression to the new ideas. Of course, they did not base their thought on a systematic philosophy. Rather, their ideas were more like what Lovejoy calls explicit assumption or more or less unconscious mental habits operating in the thought of an individual or a generation, which he continues are often so general and so vague as so that it is possible for them to influence the course of men's reflection on almost any subject. Since Lovejoy has demonstrated that gradualistic thought is present in medieval philosophy and literature, it need not surprise us to find reflection in Andreas' conception of love and in seemingly contradictory attitude towards courtly love. That Andreas carefully and consistently indicates the divisions between and domains of the different form of love, without finding it necessary to go into the detailed justification of his hierarchy, shows that he was at once clear in his own mind regarding the distinction, that he assumed his reader would recognize them as well, and that he took the distinction for granted. However, despite the fact that the nobility has its place in the chain of being, and for the Andreas, courtly love is essentially an aristocratic manifestation. Courtly love, he is described, it could never be sanctioned by the church. That the attack on courtly love in book 3 is the only way Andreas could approach the subject from the outside and above the level of the courtly society, which is precisely the point of view he adopts in that section of Deamore. But his position is no different in the essential from that which he assumes in the condemning love for peasants from the courtly point of view, where he offers both criticism both criticism and assistance. Basically, in throughout this idea of art of courtly love, you will realize that he's condemning the love of peasants. I mean, the peasants are there for marriage. So, even if we identify the love in a form of marital and non-marital. For example, peasantry and the tertiary level of community, the love is only marriage. That is a marital love. The people are married, they have children, and then they have a family, and they are the largest part of the society, and they are uh, sub they are subject of the revenue collection from the state. And so there are three categories we are able to see here. First and foremost, which is the supreme, is the church love. Another people who are representing church, and they have devoted their life for the service of the god. So this is known as a spiritual love. The second category is a courtly love, where all these ruling class is there, the kings and queens are there, and then there a chivalric love is there, like for example fairy queen and all this medieval romance. And Then the third is the this is the peasantry love, so which is basically a marital. So even if in this courtly love also we cannot say that marriage is one of the significant aspect, because that is also existing without marriage. In the the life of pastor and all other people who are spiritual gurus and who are representing the god, and who are interpreting Bible, they also fall in love, but this is also not at the status of the marriage. But there is the third type, which is for the common people, and they are the lay people. They are the majority of the population, and then they only stand for the marital love. So this is, we can even identify it as a mortal and immortal love, and that's how the mortal love is being considered lower grade, and the immortal love, which is associated with this spiritual love, love to god, and primarily the love which is in the territory of the church. That's a defined institution. So that is considered to be supreme, to be best. His thought is not dualistic. It does not represent a sharp division between something completely good and something completely evil. It was customary for medieval writers to reveal gradualistic view when striving to convince the readers to lead a better life, to attack violently those levels of existence that are further removed from God, and at the same time they affirm that as God creation, they possess a certain measures of God. We need therefore not to be surprised as Andreas' vehement attack on courtly love in Book 3. Andreas' attitude towards love in the Deamore can be illustrated and clarified by comparison with the ambivalent attitude taken by the authors of the 13th century prose Lancelot in Judging of Love of Lancelot and Guinevere. In the Lancelot proper, Lancelot falls in love with Guinevere and loses thereby purity. His love is therefore recognized as sinful. Yet Lancelot fall into sin was not so deep, nor the effect of it appears so apparent as to compromise his fame as a knight of the Round Table. Indeed, his Guinevere become courtly love does for Andreas a source of prose and valor, and permitted him to overcome all the obstacles that he meet in his difficult adventure. The single exception will be quest for the Holy Grail. Yet when Guinevere laments the fact that their love cost Lancelot the honor of achieving the quest, he consoles her and himself with the thought of good that their love has brought about. If you find I'm mispronouncing any word, kindly forgive me and write the correct pronunciation, or post a video in my comment section where I can improve. So persons who are convinced that love is the source of his prose, when in Lancelot first learns that he will not achieve the quest for grails because of his love for Guinevere, he is consoled by Seymour reminds him of all accomplishments as Guinevere's right. We suppose such as this, Lancelot could feel free to defend his love for Guinevere even during the quest for the Grail, and on the occasions in the quest it does serve him as an answer to the severe censorship of Humpt. But Lancelot is participating in quest for the Grail, and as indicate is so ordinary question. Therefore, it is not long before one of the hermits said Lancelot straight regarding the supposed beneficial effects of his love for Guinevere. He reproves that love and continues by telling Lancelot that because of his love. So we are actually, we are trying to understand the medieval love not only in form of Deamore but the other writers also. So this is here. Uh, this Lancelot perspective is going on, but we are skipping it, okay? Because let me just see what other things. Yes, I think this is significant. Yes, in comparing the criticism of courtly love in Quest and Andreas, one should bear in mind that the two works are not in agreement regarding to the alternative to courtly love. In Quest, there is a complete transition from the terrestrial order, represented by the courtly world of Arthur and the Round Table, to the order of the chivalriers. The later knights are on a par with the hermit and nuns Andreas described in Book 1. That that with those who treat completely from the world and abandon all its joys, indeed, only the elite of kingdom has any hope of entering into his order and completing the quest for the Holy Grail. Andreas envisages a more modest and also more widely inclusive alternative. He wants Walter to become a better Christian and better friend, pleasing to God because he is apudicus, but still admired by the aristocratic fellows because he remained Largus. Then page number 335. This form of sapintia is obviously not so harsh as the proposed by the suitors in Book 1 as an alternative courtly love, page number 161 to 164. Although all sexes love is condemned as sinful, there is no indication in Book 3 that the redeemed lover must abandon this world and flee into the monastery. Rather, he will contribute towards the maintenance and order of the institutions of those world and important virtues of largeness. Andreas, good Christian, still remains many the courtly virtue not directly dependent, like the love of Lancelot and Guinevere helped to explain another problem in the Deamore. The harmony that Andreas believes should obtain between the marital affection and courtly love for another person. This idea, which Andreas attribute to Mary de Champagne, as a redefining the several of the judgments in book found in Book 2. Then, because these are the references which are actually going out of Deamore. Andreas is Maria speaking for an idol, and like many courtly writers of the 12th and 13th century, they seem perfectly aware that reality may oppose the ideas. Despite the fact that Andreas' conception of courtly love represents an ideal more than reality, one should not conclude that this conception from it cannot be determined from the Deamore. It is only one wild of medieval literature in his time. Indeed, the tendency to see genuine courtly love in only one work or group of authors can lead into the oversimplifying or to neglect important characteristics of courtly love that do not fit immediately into the particular description of it. Courtly love, like all love, is a very complex matter, and when considering it, one should certainly bear in mind that variety of form in which certain common conceptions are recognized and elaborate upon. So that's how we are about to conclude, and this is almost end. This is the last part I'm reading, so you can actually look into this. In fact, the problem of Issei is basement come up in the last dialogue, where the lady must choose between two suitors, the one eloquent of in declaring his love and the other incapable of expressing his sentiments other than thought his action. The problem is not resolved to the satisfaction of the speaker. That is page number 195 to 198, although the lady has lost last word in defending the equal rights of the silent lover. So that's how we can actually move in the last. So, and you can actually read out